Salam sis.
Surya sini.
Zakia here.
And I'm Ustazah Syariati.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hola.
Yes, hari ni kita ada another guest, Ustazah and Zakia.
And Ustaz. Hai Ustaz.
Nak panggil you Ustazah Zakia.
Hai bukan Ustaz, hai Ustaz. Kena kecak.
Okay. Kurang ajar.
Behave Surya.
Okay.
Kita ada tetamu ni hari
Okay, yes. Islam tak mengajar kita untuk memukul orang lain.
Betul.
Okay.
Betul.
Okay, so tetamu kita hari ni Ustazah is actually very special to me because I always feel that kita yang dilahirkan sebagai orang Islam kan, I selalu macam nak tahu apa yang buat orang bukan macam I just nak tahu how orang lain macam I tak tahu macam nak cakap macam dia macam I nak tahu lebih lah pasal agama lain macam gitu. Apa yang buat orang rasa macam gitu?
You boleh tanya Ustazah sebab Ustazah datang daripada sekolah.
Oh ya,
Dia
tapi
tahu.
dia selalu dah hafal. Okay, so Ustazah, you nak memperkenalkan guest kita hari ini?
Yes.
Dia jawabkan untuk I. Okay, so our guest today is I think I prefer she introduce herself. I'm
Okay.
excited to have her here. Macam Surya kata, we actually want to know her journey to Islam. Yes, so here we welcome Carmel.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum sisters,
Bukan
listeners.
who. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Carmel here. I'm really excited to be here.
Alhamdulillah.
Campur-campur lah, okay?
Kita pun excited.
Bit Malay, bit English.
Very excited. So you you can also speak Malay very well. Sometimes I rasa macam you berbual Melayu macam
Macam
Macam orang Melayu kan?
Macam kalau call you, actually dia Melayu habis sampai macam dia orang apa macam gitu.
Macam Kamel nak macam kat mana? Ya aku kat sini
Kira Mina.
Mina sikit.
Zakia yang kita rasa suara dia macam
Aduh. Ikut dia lah.
Okay, so Ustazah continue.
Okay.
Pak
Tahu
behave Ustazah.
Astagfirullahalazim.
Okay.
So Carmel is here to join us today to share a little bit more about her story. But before that, we want to get to know you a little bit more. So tell us about yourself.
How old
Okay.
are you?
How old Okay, I'm turning 31 this year.
Oh.
Okay, so
Dekat umur kita.
dekat, sangat dekat kan?
I
Dekat kat I.
Setahun je.
So to answer Surya's question, I am Eurasian, but I can speak Malay because it was something that I picked up along the way in secondary
Did
school.
you learn Malay?
No. It was my second. Chinese was my second language.
Third
So
language.
third language, yes.
Teringat Ustazah belajar cakap Cina.
我很漂亮.
Ustazah jawab
Sorry,
sikit.
continue.
Kasih sama dia.
Okay. So I learned I was in a government school so I had a lot of I think just by default the demographic in government schools is a lot of Malay kids. So I think I just picked up Malay along the way there. So okay, I'm a revert or convert, and I converted in Alhamdulillah in November 2019, 2nd November 2019.
Oh,
So it's
just
been like-
before COVID.
Before COVID.
Yes, like right before the cusp of COVID. So this year will be my fifth year as a Muslim. I'm 5.
Bagus Zakia punya maths.
Yes,
Cepat sekali.
I'm 5 year old.
Yeah. Oh. 5-year-old Muslim. So cute. Macam
I'm a 5-year-old baby.
Masya Allah.
But okay, I nak tahu if you're okay to share. How about your family? Like they can accept it macam
Macam were they against it in the beginning?
how do you tell them that okay, this is my decision?
Okay. My mother was very, very accepting of it because she saw a lot of positive changes. Actually, the story goes way, way before 2019.
Okay.
So if I can start off with how I think first Islam showed up in the picture was, if I'm not wrong, I think 2013 or 2014, where it's a bit of a silly story but I I'm not encouraging dating before marriage.
Okay.
But it happens to the best of us lah kan. So I was dating this one guy for a year, and I think he was like 6 or 7 years older than me. So at that time I was like 19, 20, 19 or 20 or 21. And he broke up with me after a year because he said, oh, you terlalu banyak tattoo lah. You bukan orang Islam lah. You belum ada kerja. And at that time I was still schooling. So I had nothing to my name lah. Like I had no money, no job. I wasn't financially independent at that time. So he basically dumped me after a year. Like 2 days after his birthday.
Dah 1 year baru nak cakap ni semua.
Itulah.
Apa saja
Right?
ni,
Like
Mat.
what are you didn't think of it before when you first got into the relationship,
Maybe
right?
dia rasa macam nak change you lah.
Nak
I
change
think-
daripada menghina.
He can what?
Takkan je.
Mana tahu.
Okay, tak apa. Si Mat ni cerita.
Mad
Put
indeed.
one side.
So
Okay.
after getting dumped, actually no lah, he not mad lah.
Oh, not Mat.
It's not mad lah, not mad. Yeah, I just so
Dah
he,
tua tu takkan Mat. Dia
Yes.
21, dia tu 7-8 tahun.
he's a retired man.
Retired man. Yes.
Yeah. So he told me like I was an impossible person to bring back to his mother.
Oh.
Yeah. So at that tender age of like 19, 20 or 21, I felt like okay, I need to become Muslim in order to win this guy back. So cringe really now that I think about it. So that was my first steps into trying to understand Islam.
Okay.
But that very short journey had wrong intentions because I bukan nak masuk Islam sebab I sayang Allah or I sayang agama Islam. The intention of trying to become Muslim was because I wanted to win this guy back.
So this guy actually macam show you dia ada good example as a Muslimah.
No.
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean, if he had, kalau dia ada tunjuk like contoh yang baik, like what it is to be a good Muslim, maybe it could have been
Macam,
discussed
oh,
lah.
okay.
But you didn't even show me anything about Islam. Dumped me because I wasn't Muslim. And then it made me launch into this journey of what I thought was Islam. I didn't even read the Quran at that time. No consultation with the Quran. I was just I just roughly knew the idea that Islam was like, okay, no pork, no alcohol, try to dress modestly. Dah.
So macam dia punya basic dah tahulah.
Yeah, it was a very
sikit.
skewed idea of Islam. And it was the Islam that I saw from school. It wasn't a very genuine Islam lah. So I kept up with it for like about 2 to 3 months. And while I was really like suffering from the breakup, in some ways that very slight information I had on Islam did make it easier for me to get over the guy. But I also realized at the end of it that what I needed wasn't to become a Muslim. It was to get over him. So after I got over him, then I'm like, I came to the realization, like, okay, I'm not genuinely trying to be a Muslim. That I don't have a love for this religion. I don't understand this religion. And I don't want to, I guess, insult other Muslims by being a non-genuine Muslim lah. So I chucked the idea, resumed my old life and went back to my vices lah. Yeah, so maybe I was Muslim for like 3 months.
Sekejap lah.
At that
Tapi
time
tu pun
in
in the stage
2014.
yang masih nak belajar.
Yeah.
Win the retired mat and all that tau.
Yeah, RM, retired man. I did not win him back, by the way. He got married like I think a year after that.
Cik.
So okay,
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yes.
he happy can already.
Betul.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you actually so at that time you decided that okay, this is not what I'm doing with my life. I'm not actually wanting to be a Muslim, and so you got out of it and went back to your old life. And then what is this now? Like, where did it come from?
This is genuine, by the way. Okay, so I think fast forward to like 2019, and in the beginning of 2019, I was in a very bad place. It's a very personal story, and it's something that I am unable to share, unfortunately. But this was, I think, the lowest I had been in my life. Very depressed. Not clinically diagnosed, but I just felt like, wow, I was very upset, had no motivation to do anything. And I just had this hunch. You just, like literally this thought in my head, you try Allah again. You just try Allah again. So again, with not having any knowledge or guidance or knowing where to start for Islam, I'm like, okay lor, Ya Allah, I very sad lah. Can you like help me get out of it? I code switch. So I was like, okay lah, I like it, and then like after a while, like after I slowly like invoke Allah's name, I start to find. I obviously at this time I picked up the Quran lah, and then I started to listen to like surahs, and I think what was very miraculous about this journey, going up to being a genuine Muslim, was that I physically felt changes.
Okay.
You know, and starting to
Like
see
what?
a lot.
What were the physical changes that you felt?
I think one of the physical, I think both are right. It's physical and mental, right? So your mental feelings, your emotions also affect how you physically feel. Mentally, because I was in a better state, I was a lot more positive, and I felt fearless
Oh wow.
in a very good way. Like nothing scares me. Allah is with me. I'm confident. I'm facing the world. I can go through this, right? Like nothing is insurmountable for me. That was one. And things that I felt were miraculous to me started to manifest itself. Like at that time, I did not know the significance or the order of the Quran. Like what was the longest surah, what was the first, what was the shortest. I just went to YouTube and searched Quran surahs or something. Not even like short or whatever. And for some reason, the same three surahs kept popping up. And can you guess what it is?
Surah
Al-Inshirah.
Oh no, babe, that's long.
Oh.
Al-Fatihah, Al-Ikhlas.
Al-Ikhlas.
Tiga kot.
Anas.
Yeah, tiga kot. So like in some ways, maybe I don't know lah. Call it what you want lah. Some people say, oh no lah, it's just things that show up from a YouTube algorithm. But for me, it felt very special because whenever I search stuff, it all came to me in very bite-sized pieces, and I felt it was Allah's way of trying to steer me in easy bite-sized directions. So obviously that was the first three, along with Al-Fatihah lah. That was the first 3 or 4 surahs that I will remember. And I think the most significant feeling that I felt was a very painful feeling inside my chest that I love Allah. Every morning I will wake up. Sayang gila and sakit jantung. So pain, but it's because I love Allah.
Physically rasa
Yes.
Wow. Orang
I terus
Islam
macam meremang.
macam orang Islam yang
I'm just
pun
speechless.
tak pernah rasa like wow.
I don't like
Alamak.
obviously now I don't feel it. And it's very
Amazing.
it's not that I love Allah less. I think it's just because I've settled into the religion. But whenever I talk about that feeling, I yearn sangat bringing to feel how I felt when I first converted or how I felt in the first year. So pain, you know, that have you ever loved anything or maybe your children so much your chest hurts?
Yes.
So much, you know. And it was such an unexplainable feeling. But at the same time, so pain, but
it's not
nice.
It's not a negative pain.
it's not. It's not. It's like when you... It was a nice, yeah. Thanks.
But it's amazing. Macam
It
mana
is.
Allah Ta'ala gerakkan hidayah untuk dia and all that. Like suddenly like dia cari, itulah yang selama ni dia cari. Maybe.
Tu yang Allah cakap
That's what
bila
she
Allah
needed.
Yeah.
Allah kasih hidayah tu, Allah akan pilih siapa orang tu kan. Macam kita selalu macam mana hidayah tu, and kita selalu kadang-kadang try to change people. Macam you bila nak dapat hidayah ni. But this thing Allah really macam Allah tahu bila dia nak kasih. We cannot like macam force that person. Even if let's say we go back to the RM punya story tadi, RM tried tried to change her. Tapi RM gagal.
I don't even think RM tried to change me.
I
was
mean,
like,
RM tried to
unchangeable.
tried to
Bye.
macam I want to bring you tapi tak boleh. So
Dah lah, too
I mean
bad,
dah,
too
too
sad
bad lah,
macam
too
gitu.
bad lah RM, too bad lah.
Tak jadi apa-apa.
Dah lah RM pun ketinggalan basah. Sudah lah.
Okay, so I nak tanya you satu question. I tak tahu if this is okay. I just want to know, go back to, you cakap tadi you kenal RM bila you masih lagi quite young lah at that point of time. And you said that, RM said that you ada banyak tattoo, so dia tak nak bawa you pergi jumpa family dia. So ni I just nak tahu, you punya first tattoo apa? And kenapa you buat tattoo tu?
Interesting
my
lah,
goodness.
actually.
Oh, so young. It's actually a lot of secondhand embarrassment to like recall it. Like I think in the 80s or like the early 90s, there was this trend among like Chinese gangsters in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Stephen
And
Chow.
yes, that kind of like gangster kind of films, right? And even in Singapore also, where they will have these 4 Chinese words tattooed across the nape of their neck, like at the back. But I was a student, I was broke, and I had no money. So instead of doing 4 words, I do 1. I do 1.
I'm so proud of it also.
Jadilah.
Yeah, but it was
Tattoo apa,
funny
peace
because
Peace word dia.
trust. So the word in so it's the same. Trust in Chinese is sing. But the same sing, right, is the same letter for surat. Letter.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I basically had trust / surat.
So what are the combination of the 4 words actually?
I don't know. I didn't think. I mean, I didn't even have money for 4 words, so I just thought of one.
I tahu word dia apa.
Apa?
Sing kan.
Ah,
Lean and
kan?
sing.
Itu 3, babe.
Tak faham.
Itu pelakon lah.
Oh, okay, tak tahu.
Channel 8 eh? Ya Allah. Rumah tak ada TV. Well.
So another like
Quran, okay.
silly thing to share was that when black tattoos fade, right, it tends to become like a very dark green.
Yeah.
So at that time because it was my first tattoo, I thought that people were using green ink.
I sampai sekarang baru tahu itu actually asalnya black.
Black.
Yang kening semua tu,
Yeah.
yang hijau.
That's why they become
Oh my
green.
God.
Bila dia fade kan, dia jadi macam biru,
Kenapa
hijau
orang
gitu.
asyik nak draw pakai hijau je? Pakailah
How?
biru ke purple Rupanya
But
black fades.
yes, rupanya black fade. So can you imagine? Because I chose green, the green also fade. Then it became like neon green. Yeah, it became like really a light green.
Okay.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, kenapa I tanya you pasal tattoo, okay? So because you ada banyak, kan? You takut tak? Because apparently kita semua tahu, especially kalau you go to masjid Ustazah pakcik-pakcik akan macam
Masjid je tengok I. Tak di masjid ke apa?
Takkan tengok dia.
Pergi masjid sih.
Tak, I nak tanya you. Selalunya I akan dengar benda ni lah. Kalau you pergi masjid, orang akan macam, hey, you keluar. Especially kalau you tak pakai your hijab and everything. Do you have that? Macam you takut tak?
You pernah
Alamak.
encounter tak?
Okay, at that time when I was still like I baru masuk Islam kan, I was quite nervous that I would receive such reactions. And I have, but no one has actually called me out on it and say like, kau ada tattoo, kau tak boleh masuk masjid. Keluar. That is not like Cita Nur kind of story, you know. I watch Malay TV shows.
Sudah confirm tak tengok?
Tengok.
Let's start Cita too.
Yeah.
Okay, but people have stared lah. You know, kalau bila I make uduk kan, you can see like the side of your eye that people are like looking, and I hope I sendiri pun husnuzon lah, like, and I hope that when these people are looking at me, I hope it's them maybe making dua for me. Like, I mean, I think you can put 2 and 2 together. Either this person is a reformed Muslim yang dah taubat, dah kembali ke Allah. Not in the death sense lah, but or me
Finding their way back to Allah.
finding their way back to Allah.
Kami datang balik sebelah Carmel TV. Itu dah lain ni Halloween.
Casper.
Or this person can think that, oh, dia mu'alaf. So I mean, I try to think that way, because if I were to think in a very aggressive manner, like tengok apa?
Apa, Cik?
Apa kau
Nak
stare?
buat apa?
You know, then it's also not good for my heart lah.
Pendam nak buat ni sebenarnya.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So that wasn't like a great challenge lah.
No,
Macam
not at
you
all.
didn't feel like, oh my god, macam mana ni nak pergi masjid. And all.
No.
It wasn't something that you worried about lah.
Thankfully, not, because I felt like my relationship with Islam is solely between. I mean, while I do have like my relationship with people also matter, like it was more so of how Allah saw me. So I didn't care whether people. I did have comments, like not comments from people in the masjid, but other Muslims who are telling me, hey, you go masjid, you must this, must that. Obviously, when I go to masjid, I'm well dressed. I'm not wearing funky stuff. But some people have said, don't show in the masjid. If not, later people talk about you. But you're in the masjid though. You shouldn't be talking about people like that. Yeah.
Ni macam tak boleh stop lah. Ni kadang-kadang orang punya
Cannot
perception lain-lain.
Semua benda lah orang boleh cakap.
yeah.
Not just about tattoo. So, pasal bawa budak pun orang cakap, tolak wheelchair pun orang cakap. There's a lot of things that people will just talk about. But I'm glad that you are not affected by this, you know, like because a lot of people, macam Surya kata, a lot of people macam takut nak pergi masjid just because they have tattoo or like some very visible thing that people can see and maybe judge them or halau them and things like that. But I hope that the community is more more accepting of the physical mistakes lah that is visible, kan orang nampak, but the fact that a person is going to the masjid is a good thing. Yeah. So if that is not one of your challenges, then what is your challenge when you have entered into Islam? Or like now as a Muslim, what are some of the things that macam really susah? Like it's still a struggle for you lah.
What is still a struggle now? I think just trying to be consistent with my actions, with my intentions. There are good days, there are bad days. On some days it's like, okay, I feel like the best version of a Muslim. I feel like the best version of myself today. But then on some days it's like, okay, my iman feels really low. But I feel that as humans also we need to understand that our iman has peaks and valleys. On some days we will feel very, very close to Allah. On some days we feel very far. But there's one phrase that and I shared this with Ustazah before. I think it was like this Imam Suhaib Webb or something. A follower was asking him, I feel very far from Allah today. And then Suhaib Webb just answered a one-liner, who moved? Right? Because Allah doesn't move. Allah comes closer to you. And all you just need to do is just remember that Allah is always there. He is eternal. And if you ever feel far, you just need to make the effort to try to be closer.
So, okay. So for you, solat is not a challenge.
It was last time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I'll just share a quick story. I do. Now I've prayed 5 times a day, alhamdulillah. And I pray I never stop.
Orang born Muslim pun bukan senang nak commit to 5 times a day solat betul macam on time.
I mean, okay, so I converted, like just do the math a bit. I converted 2nd November, and this incident that made me pray 5 times a day happened on 29th November. So a little under a month after I took my Shahadah. I borrowed my auntie's car on that particular day, and then went to this place to get some food lah. So this tempat dia just parallel parking tau. And I can drive, but I think I speak for a lot of people when I say parallel parking. I just susah sikit lah. Something of that stress, like just trying to parallel park.
Sampai bila-bila.
I pernah
72.
keluar masuk orang tengok kan. Nak saya tolong park, I keluar kereta tu. I keluar.
Habis orang dia tolong you lah.
Parkkan kereta.
Dengan ikhlas you keluar je.
Tolonglah park. Seriously. Yeah, it's not easy.
Parallel parking is stressful. I admit that. So alhamdulillah managed to park. But I think because of the stress of the parallel parking, I completely forgot to pay parking. Went to eat. Took less than half an hour, no. And then the car was just behind me, like diagonally only. Not completely out of my view. I come back to the car like 30 minutes later, and then there's a parking ticket for $40. Saman. So okay lah, never mind lah. Then drove off. Then I was supposed to go for dinner with my friends at Orchard. Drove to Orchard, parked, everything was fine. Then when I was supposed to go back home, I got into an accident.
Allah, dah jatuh di tipe
Allahu
tangga.
Akbar. I was like, wah, piang. Like, that one really felt like I just went to a tailspin. I immediately in my head I was like, okay, Allah is punishing me because I don't pray 5 times a day.
Baik,
really.
baik.
Baik, dia bersangka baik dia.
Pasal
Macam reflection.
Really, and like that was the first thought in my head. Okay, oh my God, this must be happening because I don't pray 5 times a day. And the car that I hit had children in the car. No?
Oh.
It was a side swipe. Then the kids were like crying and the whole bumper of the next car was gone. So it was a lot of thoughts in my head that time. Like, okay, how much is the damage going to be? Oh my God, the damage is so bad. Oh my God, my auntie's car is damaged as well.
Were you working already at that time? Like,
I was
were
working.
you stabilized already?
I was, but no matter how stable you are, I think an accident is still always seram.
takut lah.
Yeah.
The cost and all
Seram.
that,
Yeah. And then the other driver was nice lah, but I mean, I'm not that it helped the situation or anything. So, ended up being so shaken after we settled like the whole administrative thing, like took pictures. I nearly couldn't drive. I was so panicky. I kept blaming myself. I'm like, this has to be happening because I don't pray. Ya Allah, why are you doing this to me? I managed to find, because I could barely drive, but I managed to find a safe spot to cry, just collect my nerves, settle and submit what I needed to do. The next day onwards, from 30th November onwards, I started to pray 5 times a day. And I haven't stopped since then, alhamdulillah.
Masya Allah.
Yeah. It's
Power tau actually. Ada orang Islam pun masih terplay on semayang
Betul.
solat
The,
semua.
the thing is, dah pernah accident, dah pernah nak mati, hidup balik semua. Tapi still not yet committed to solat. Tapi you macam one time you kena this like very macam shake awakening lah, sort of like an
Shawakening.
Yeah. Macam it shook you and then macam oh my God, and then you like committed to it.
Dia tak ada
5
macam
times a day.
marah-marah macam apa saya nari. Nampak kan dia tak ada dia. Aku tak semayang. Macam jarang tau orang nak thought macam gitu.
Yes.
Betul.
Betul.
it made me okay. So there was like more of a repercussion after that. I found that I was praying out of fear. And then I felt bad, like, am I praying because I love Allah or am I praying out of fear? And lama-kelamaan after feeling guilty, like, oh, I'm only praying out of fear, I feel like there's a fine balance, isn't it? We both love and fear Allah, and we cannot completely remove that love. We cannot completely remove that fear. So it's for both reasons. I've made peace with it. I'm scared of Allah, but I love Allah. So I pray. Maybe it's like 70% fear, 30% love. But at the end of the day, tak apalah. Jadi solat.
Yeah, it's not wrong also
Yeah.
to pray
Betul.
because of fear. It's still
Yeah.
a believing person's prayer.
Even
Correct.
you tak ikhlas pun ibarat you kena semayang,
Solat
right?
juga, yes.
Bangun, paksa juga diri.
Betul.
In hindsight, I'm really happy the accident happened. And everyone got away unscathed. I was uninjured. The children were uninjured.
Yes.
Everyone was fine. And the claims turned out to be, because it's side swipe a 50-50 split, it just turned out to be 2.4K for both drivers. So it didn't do much damage on the insurance premium for the next year. So
Your auntie marah you tak?
tak langsung.
Wow.
Tengok.
Yeah.
Semua Allah Ta'ala susunkan. Tak ada orang marah, bila kurang and all that. Quite good.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Okay, I lagi satu soalan nak tanya. I nak tahu kalau for us most of us yang memang Islam daripada kecil, kita semua macam dengar surah, macam kita pun tak tahu bila, macam for me, I pun tak tahu bila I start hafal surah Al-Fatihah. And that is the main thing that you have to hafal. Bila you nak solat. For now, my age, bila nak hafal new surah pun macam terkial-kial. How do you hafal surah Al-Fatihah?
Oh, mashallah. Okay, so Arabic obviously wasn't something that I was used to listening to. Even if you don't understand it, I think as cradle Muslims, korang just have a tendency to listen to it because your mom plays it in the house or you dengar dekat masjid.
Dengar radio azan.
Yeah, exactly. I think, again, this was another one of Allah's miracles, that He made it so easy for me to learn huruf Arab, to read it, and He made it easy for me to memorize.
So you tak baca the transliteration lah, you baca the
I baca the
Ngaji
Arabic. Yeah, and I mean, personally lah, I feel it's better because it helps with the intonation anyway.
Correct,
And
the makhraj.
Tajwid dia.
and the makhraj, the tajweed.
So means you boleh baca Al-Quran?
Boleh.
Masya Allah.
It's not
Korang
lancar
5
and
years old Muslim, okay? 5-year-old
Hi,
Muslim,
baby.
okay? Yang kita dah 30 tahun, dah 35 tahun, 28 tahun, please.
Tapi tak terlambat lah kalau nanti
Betul.
nanti orang fikir macam cik dah 40. Tak
Judgemental lah.
Nenek I bukan judgemental. I cakap kita jangan macam take for granted that we know Al-Fatihah and all dan tak payah belajar. Orang yang masuk Islam baru 5 tahun dah boleh mengaji.
Betul.
Kita tunggu apa lagi? Nenek I tunggu lama. Dia sekarang umur 80 tahun baru dia dah boleh baca Quran. Because belajar baca Quran from her husband, my grandfather, garang. So every time he scold her, she will cry and stop.
Allah, kesian.
Nangis stop sampai eventually my grandfather meninggal dunia. And then her daughter, my auntie, started to teach her Iqra, macam ajar balik Iqra one by one, macam habis Iqra tu. And then dia graduate, start mengaji Al-Quran surah Al-Baqarah. Macam now she's like 80 plus year old, then she can baca.
Cute,
So I mean, boleh belajar. Macam kita 28 ke 30 ke, dia 80 years old dia boleh belajar. So it's like if you really consistent and you cuba, you akan boleh baca, insyaAllah.
Betul. Okay, so now macam mana? Now you dah kahwin, you dah get over RM ke?
long over arm, sis. He's dust.
Gitu.
Oh dah. Macam
Okay.
Joe Flizzo.
What? Okay. So now tell us about how you
Actually, I had a question.
Okay.
So we talk about how you try Islam and then after that do it properly and all. How did you eventually betul-betul masuk Islam? Like what was the moment that you betul-betul macam, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to say the Shahadah. Like what was that like?
The moment of taking my Shahadah.
Yes. Like when you decided and the moment you took the Shahadah.
Decided
Like what
nak
was
pergi Arkam ni
macam
semua.
aku nak jadi Islam sekarang. I want to be Muslim.
Actually, registration dia, sorry to
Cepat, it's just online.
Macam you just macam walk in, macam nak masuk Islam
Tak,
gitu.
you buat online, you do the registration online. So you
okay.
submit your name, you pilih date dah. Settle. Then bila you convert, orang kasih you $50.
Yes, I know about that one.
Macam kita cover taxi fare lah.
Gift pack and some money.
I use that money belanja my family makan. Mualaf money.
Yes,
MM.
it is
Kan?
mu'alaf money.
So this is where all your zakat is going to, guys.
Going to mu'alaf.
Bagus lah.
Yes, betul.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so I want to know like macam apa yang you decide macam okay, I'm going to do this.
My decision came to me in a dream. And it's a very scary dream. The bulu roma is real, man. Okay, so I think 2 weeks before I at that point already I was very sure I wanted to become a Muslim, but I wasn't hadn't yet decided. I wasn't sure when I felt like super ready to take the Shahadah, officially be Muslim. So 2 weeks before the appointment to officially be Muslim, I had this nightmare where I was riding a roller coaster. And it was like a really high roller coaster. So I'm going up this, and you know the roller coaster, it ticks, right? It clicks like this, that tuck, 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 tuck sound. So I don't like that sound. It's a very daunting sound. And all around me was greenery, like hills, beautiful rivers and everything. The moment I reached the peak, the roller coaster cart stayed there for a while. And when I went down, everything changed into fire and brimstone. Fire everywhere. Batu everywhere. And a hole opened up in the floor. And the whole roller coaster track went in. Seram gila. And I remember my cart fell off the roller coaster and I saw every other cart go in. And immediately, in that dream I was in sujud position on the hot floor on brimstone. No one was around me. and I was screaming the Shahadah. Screaming.
Bulu roma I naik sekarang ni dia tengah macam
I was screaming the Shahadah. And then I woke up. I shot up in bed, sweating, like drenched, you know. And I woke up screaming the Shahadah.
Ooh.
Wow.
I gasped. I was screaming the Shahadah when I woke up.
Impact.
And then at that moment, I'm like, okay,
This is it.
I'm booking later. Yeah. And it's funny because I have a few other like revert friends as well. A few of them have similar stories of like Kiamat.
Oh.
I find it's a very recurring theme for reverts. And I've maybe 2 or 3 revert friends or acquaintances that I know that have had Kiamat dreams. And that's what made them go do the Shahadah.
MasyaAllah.
Yeah.
Tak pernah
I
tahu
cannot
tau.
forget that dream.
Interesting sih.
Yeah. Betul. Takut dengar
macam it's like in sleep you are awakened and then you wake up and you like okay that's it.
This is it, yeah. Yeah. It's scary. My goodness.
Yes. Betul. Kita dengar pun je takut. Wow.
I was on a roller coaster
balik
though.
takut nak tidur.
Ish.
Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah asyhadu anna muhammadar rasulullah.
Screaming the Shahadah
Screaming.
tau.
Screaming.
In sujud tau. Sujud position.
main-main Wow.
Dia buat I macam terfikir kalau orang dah mati, habis macam you dekat
Tak
dalam
sempat.
kubur ni you dah tak sempat. Habis macam see aku dah cakap dengan kau. Betul tak? Macam kau tak sempat nak buat apa-apa pun. But for you ada that chance and you macam okay,
Untung
I'm
tau.
going to do it now.
Very lucky.
And you buat I reflect macam kalau nak buat baik jangan tunggu. Come buat cepat.
Percepatkan benda yang baik.
Okay.
Macam mana you bilang dengan your mum yang you nak masuk Islam? Like how you started off the conversation? Macam
Like for real this time.
atau you dah masuk dulu baru you balik you bilang macam
Okay, remember fake Muslim era, right? Like I actually told her at first and she wasn't very supportive of it. She never once has my mother like pull out me or stop talking to me. She still loves me all the same. I think my mother's amazing. But the first stint, right? Again, through Allah's work, maybe she didn't feel like, okay, Islam is not good for her. Why you want to choose Islam? She also had that very bad impression of Islam through the media lah. But the second genuine stint, which is now lah, I think Allah also opened her eyes and allowed her to see the change that I willingly made because I wasn't an easy teenager or young adult to deal with. So for her to be able to see that I was more patient, I was kinder, I was more helpful around the house, I was more loving, it made her feel like, okay, yeah, Islam changed her. And she supports me fully when I told her that, okay, Mom, I'm going to be a Muslim. And I didn't tell her like 2 weeks before. It wasn't something that I hid from her. I told her from the get-go already. I've always had a good relationship with my mom. Yeah, so I think because she saw that it made me happy, it pulled me out of my really bad state, she was like, you know what, go do what makes you happy. And if you feel Islam is for you, go
just
do
go
it.
for it lah.
Yeah. So she was extremely supportive of it.
Allah pun bukakan hati dia juga untuk tak benci anak dia.
Yeah, mashallah. It's
Untuk
not
tak-
everybody.
ada yang
not
macam
everybody.
disown anak semua tau.
Yes. Tak kisah langsung. Like dietary requirement ke apa
Yes.
macam tak kisah langsung. You come to my house, you eat whatever that is in my house. Like no special treatment ke apa. So mashallah, I believe your mother is definitely a blessing.
She is.
Yeah,
My whole
mashallah.
my nene also lah. Like the things I've seen them change for me. Like my nene bought new pots for me. My mom also bought new pots for me. So it's no pork pots and PP. And
No pork pot.
no pork pots. Yeah. So I mean, they've made it easy for me to be a Muslim. Like I don't need to like pretend or like hide in their house to pray. I can just pray. You know, I'm very comfortable in their house, and my mom is proud that I'm Muslim. It's not even just like, okay, and it's not a by fact. So my mom's a nurse, works in a clinic, and whenever she sees like a Muslim patient, she always finds the opportunity. Hey, you know my daughter Muslim. Yeah, so like it makes me really happy, and it's quite cute lah. Like it's very endearing to see her so enthusiastic that I'm a Muslim. Yeah.
Mashallah. If there were things that your mom and your grandma had to give up because you are now a Muslim, what were the things that you had to give up because you're a Muslim?
I think first and foremost would be the dietary requirements. And dietary, I mean, just across drinking and eating. So this is not now. It's not a challenge, but back then when I was still a new Muslim, not having any dietary requirements last time, and then now needing to check like, oh, is this halal? Is this got alcohol or no alcohol? So it has to be like conscientious decision, and I can be really honest and say that it's only in recent years that I have finally gotten into the groove of making sure everything is halal. Have I accidentally eaten pork because I've forgotten to check? Yes. Astaghfirullah, but it is what it is. I mean, this is struggles of a convert lah. Like maybe I could have been a little bit more careful back then, but it's not something that consistently crossed my mind as a new Muslim at that time. Yeah.
Senang lah.
So that is one of the more difficult things lah.
Yeah.
Like
So okay, so
food.
diet I've had to give up, and then I really wouldn't say I've had to give up much else, because my grandmother and my mother have given up stuff for me. I think it's a very symbiotic relationship that I have with them.
Mashallah.
Semoga like deep down inside you punya hati mesti like one day you pun nak dorang join.
Oh, of
So
course.
kita semua ramai-ramai akan doakan for that, and that will be a beautiful ending lah to everything.
InsyaAllah.
Kita lengkapkan everything.
Allah yahdina jami'an.
Amin.
Do you have any encouraging words for sisters out there who may know somebody who is, macam tengah nak decide nak jadi Muslim, or they
Susah.
themselves are reverts or converts, and they themselves are struggling with adapting to the Muslim lifestyle, or a Muslim family, or they get married and everything is different. Do you have any words as a sister who has gone through stuff to tell them?
Sorry, coughing, not crying. I think like the one thing that has really pulled me through all of this is knowing that at the very bare minimum of it all, Allah is always there. And as long as you remember that, pray and keep asking. Like, He's the Lord of everything. He is omnipotent. He can provide, He can make, He can destroy, He can do anything. So just think of the impossible lah, right? If you feel that you're in a very bleak situation in your life, whether it's with your in-laws, or whether it's with your religion, or whether you feel like you've hit a barrier with your religion, just keep seeking, just keep asking from Allah, and I promise you, it does get better. Things do lighten up eventually. And I think when you rely and know that Allah is always there, there's that sense of relief that you have, that there's nothing you need to worry about. Right? We're all finite creatures. One day we're all gonna not be on this earth. We're gonna be 6 feet under. We're gonna cease to exist. And there's something that's so much better in the afterlife. Yeah.
Wow, really wow. Macam
Just go for it.
so many things that macam cerita seram, the mimpi, and the being a fake Muslim and everything. I think as born Muslims, we learn a lot from Carmel. And for those of you who are listening in, I think for me, what I keep hearing from Carmel is how confident she is that Allah is always there. Macam apa pun, susah macam mana pun, orang tak ada pun, Allah is always there. Always. So this is a source of comfort actually for us, and strength, because people are not going to be there for us all the time. So hold on to Allah and pray that Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala also never ever let you go. Like you say, who move? Allah will always be there. Kita yang tersasar, kita yang jatuh, kita yang tergolek, tersungkur, always make the way back to Allah.
Betul. So sis Zakia, sila. Silalah.
Sila. Okay guys, so we have come to an end to this beautiful episode. And we thank our sister Carmel
Thank you,
Thank
for
you.
coming on
Thank
board.
Thank
your
you for
sharing
having me.
session. Semoga dia manfaat kepada all the sisters yang dengar, or maybe they have family members yang baru revert, atau kawan-kawan baik diorang yang tengah nak belajar Islam and all that. Maybe they can share this episode to them. And don't forget to follow and rate us on Spotify. Follow us on on SG pula, on IG and TikTok, Salam Sis SG. So we end today's episode with
Salam
Sis.